Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we are looking at possibly the most exciting card from Ultra Prism, at least the most exciting we've not yet talked about. It's Empoleon. Now, these have been revealed on the official Pokemon Japan site, because there's a tournament this weekend, and they're legal. They're coming out on Friday. They're legal for the tournament at the weekend. How cool is that? I mean, terrifying, but kind of cool. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this Empoleon is awesome. So looking at the basics here, it is a water Pokemon. This means you're going to be hitting weakness against Volcanion and Turtonator, which is nice, but remember that those decks also tend to play Ho-Oh as well. So hitting for weakness isn't exactly the be-all and end-all. But there are other advantages you get from being a water Pokemon. One of my favourites, Brooklet Hill. You get to use Brooklet Hill to search out a basic water Pokemon, or fighting, and put it straight onto your bench. Not only that, but you also get access to Aqua Patch, which attaches a water energy from your discard to one of your benched water Pokemon. And if you want to go healing here, water's actually got some healing options. We've got the Manaphy from Shining Legends, allows you to heal 20 damage once per turn from a Pokemon with water energy attached. And the supporter card Lana, which heals 50 damage from all of your Pokemon that have water energy attached to them. Kind of funky, kind of useful. I can get on board with that. You can also have free retreat from Manaphy EX if you want to. And as we're going to see in a minute, you need to fill up your bench here, so you might as well get your Manaphy on. Weakness to lightning is pretty good at the moment because, yeah, you've got Promo Tapu Koko, but that's only going to be hitting you for 40. And there really isn't much else in terms of lightning hitting you for weakness. Now, the other thing that's awesome here is that popular water Pokemon at the moment, like Alolan Ninetales, they are weak to metal, but the new Solgaleo coming out looks amazing, which means you don't want to be weak to metal. So having a water Pokemon that's weak to not metal, very nice indeed. Retreat cost of 2 is the worst in the game, as I've mentioned on many an occasion, and 160 HP is pretty big. It's about standard really nowadays for your stage 2s in the Sun and Moon block. Just look at something like a Dragonite. Now, the first attack here was mistranslated by, but I have gone and spoken to my very good friend David Hochmann. I actually got the translation from him first. Couple people gave me the translation which was incorrect, though they have since corrected it and all is good. It's not quite as good as we thought it was, but oh my goodness, it's amazing. For a water and a colourless energy, 20 damage for each benched Pokemon in play. That's 20 damage for each of your bench, 20 damage for each of your opponent's bench. This is brilliant. It's basically Raichu's attack, but it includes your opponent's bench as well. Kind of reminiscent of the Dark Explorer's Empoleon. Now that did count both the active Pokemon, but it was also 10 times, not 20 times, and it did have a really good ability as well. If you've got a full bench, you do 100 damage. But then you do extra damage based on your opponent's bench. So I figured I'd make a handy little list here of how much damage you're doing depending on how many bench Pokemon your opponent has. So if they've got 1, you're doing 120, 2, you're doing 140, 3, you're doing 160, 4, you're doing 180, 5, you're doing 200 damage for 2 energy on a single prize non-GX Pokemon. And that's before you bring in cards like Choice Band, Professor Kukui, etc. Want to take down a Golisopod? Well, if you've got a full bench, your opponent's got 4 and you use a Choice Band, you're doing 210 and getting a one-hit KO. Want to get rid of a Zoroark? Here's what's great about Zoroark. Zoroark's attack does more damage for every Pokemon they've got in play. But the more Pokemon they have in play, the more damage you do, and you can one-hit them and you're a non-GX. Fun fact, Zoroark cannot one-hit KO Empoleon. Even with a devoured field and a Professor Kukui and a full bench, still only hitting 150, not 160, in your face Zoroark. But if they've got a bench of 4, Empoleon can one-hit Zoroark. Even something like a Gardevoir, if you've got a full bench and they've got a full bench, you whack on a Choice Band, you're doing 230, getting a one-hit KO straight away. And the thing is that the game at the moment is really set up for a Pokemon like Empoleon, because everyone uses Tapu Lele at the moment, usually on turn 1 and often throughout the game. So there's 2 bench Pokemon. Most decks play something like an Octillery or a Zoroark to give themselves some draw power as we go throughout the game, maybe an Oranguru as well, which, oh no, wait a second, they're bench Pokemon, so yeah, then you get to do a bit of extra damage, plus they're attackers. I mean, if you look at something like a Gardevoir deck, generally they want 2 Gardevoir and a Gallade and an Octillery, and they've probably used a Tapu Lele. Now, they don't have to bench all of them. That's fine, but I've made this point many a time in the past. If your opponent is deliberately not benching Pokemon, just to try and limit your damage output and slow you down, you win. Because your opponent is deliberately hurting their own setup, hurting their own strategy to try and slow you down while you're just doing your thing. I cannot stress how good this attack is. And it's not just that it's a great attack that can do a lot of damage. It's that if you look at the way the game is at the moment, people are filling their bench. Everyone's using a turn 1 Bridget. Brilliant. Turn 1 Bridget, free bench Pokemon, that's 60 damage straight away. Oh, they've used a Tapu Lele for a Bridget. Well, there's 4 bench Pokemon and an extra 80 damage for me, which means with a choice band, I'm hitting 210 to an EX or a GX for 2 energy on a non-GX Pokemon. The way we are all playing the game right now backs up Empoleon as an amazing attacker. We're all using Lele, we're all using draw power like Octillery or Zoroark, everybody's got 3 to 5 Pokemon on their bench. And again, like I say in a lot of my videos, go play a few games online or with your friends, just naturally. And just pay attention throughout the game to how many bench Pokemon your opponent has. It's usually quite a lot. Now, I know it is an attack cost of 2 rather than 1. Again, the Dark Explorers only had an attack cost of 1. Should we be scared? No, because Aqua Patch is a thing. Aqua Patch is so good here. You need 2 energy, you attach 1, you Aqua Patch, you are off. It's a stage 2, which makes it a bit slower, but you've got 160 HP, which gives a bit of bulk. This attack is amazing, and you can set it up in 1 turn. For a deck like this, you need to be able to go in 1 turn straight off, and you can, because you can just go energy, Aqua Patch, and you're off. Ladies and gentlemen, that makes a huge difference to the viability of Empoleon. Now, I know originally it was translated by some people as all Pokemon in play, which would mean it basically did an extra 40 damage, which would have been frankly ridiculous, but even without that, it's still amazing. I adore this Empoleon. Empoleon is one of my boys. One of my favourite Pokemon, one of my favourite characters in Pokken Tournament. Clearly the best of the Sinnoh starters, and I will metaphorically fight you on that. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Even I am quite excited, even when I ignore my Empoleon fandom, which there is a lot of Empoleon fandom. Even stripping that away, this is an amazing attack. Oh yeah, and in Expanded you get Skyfield. Which means if you fill your bench, you're doing 160, 190 with a choice band, even if your opponent benches no Pokemon, which of course they will. And what's ruling Expanded at the moment? Oh yeah, Zoroark, which plays Skyfield and relies on playing loads of Pokemon. Yeah, Empoleon is better than Zoroark in Expanded because it's a single prize Pokemon. I know it's a stage 2 rather than a stage 1, and I know in Expanded Zoroark can KO Empoleon, but you can just use a basic and an Aqua Patch, and you're a non-GX, you're trading 2 for 1. I will take this all day long. Now, there is a second attack here. It's not particularly amazing. Water, colourless, so you essentially just add 1 more energy. 90 damage, and you discard 1 energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is not usually going to do as much damage as the first attack. Maybe in some games you know your opponent is running out of energy. I mean, if you know they only play 7 energy, and they've currently got number 6 attached, and you can just attack twice with this, they've got no energy, you win the game, maybe. Some early Golisopod lists were just playing like 7 energy and no recovery, and if you discarded them all, you won the game. Maybe if you play that kind of game, this could work. Generally, it's not a great attack, and it's unlikely to be used, but it doesn't need to be a great attack, because the first attack here is phenomenal. I did a video about every Empoleon ever. Now, that's now slightly out of date because there's a new Empoleon. So I love Empoleon, but please don't think my Empoleon fandom is influencing this card. I am giving this a very strong 4 Wassies, and honestly, I think I might be underselling the card a little bit. The fact that you can do so much damage for so little energy, and you've got the acceleration you need, and you're punishing your opponent for benching Pokemon, and we're in a format where everybody benches loads of Pokemon, just makes me look at this card and go, yes, yes, oh my goodness, yes, all the yes. I love this. First attack is phenomenal, 4 Wassies. But as with all of these, maybe you disagree, that's okay. Maybe you agree, that's even better. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc., you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. And as a side note, we're doing a stream at 7:30 PM UK time tonight. Come and join in. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.